Manupistam stapidam yenubutale swayam upakaramayam nadati svavadantikam namam Vishnu Krishna pista buddhale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitya Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Govani Pachayane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Prasita Dishatarine Vanchakapa Juvasha Kripa Sinvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Bhavanityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasadi Go Bhaktabinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so welcome everybody back to session number 2. I can see we have some people here today who were not here yesterday. Who was not here yesterday? Okay, quite a few. Good. Better late than never. Huh?
They told us they listened yesterday.
Oh, very good. Okay, good. Because then you know what we talked about yesterday. Very good. Yeah, are we all set up with the translating and almost? So maybe just to refresh our memory. Sweets are not coming in the beginning, but after. Yes. Yes, just to refresh our memory. So yesterday we were introducing the whole topic of culture. It comes about by living a certain worldview, and we were playing through different examples of hairstyle, fashion, music. How does that look like in materialistic culture? How does it look like in spiritual culture? And it became very clear that these two cultures are actually like day and night, because they're based on completely opposite worldviews. You know, materialistic culture is all about increasing sense gratification, and spiritual culture is all about decreasing sense gratification. So it cannot be more opposite than that, actually. So that was just a little introduction, because this principle of the two cultures being like day and night, this will accompany us through the whole seminar, actually. So, and then in part 2, we were starting the first controversial topic, are men and women equal? And we had a whole discussion about that. Oh, shh. We have already started the seminar, so please be very quiet when you come in here now, because we want to continue, because we have quite a few important topics today and we need all the time we can get. Yeah, so this, no personal talks, just sit down and please be quiet. So, yes, this topic of are men and women equal, we were discovering that man's vehicle, woman's vehicle have very different natures, very different qualities, because they're meant to play very different roles. At least this is according to Krishna's system like that. So, and of course today this understanding is almost lost and forgotten. The men are changing the nappies while the women are going out and earning their livelihood, and things are rather not according to Krishna's system, let's put it that way. And yeah, this does create quite a bit of instability in human society, because in actually, just for those who don't know, I do have this whole course in book form, in English of course, but there I have so much more opportunity to go into all different details of this topic, which we will not have here. But in the book, I am quoting one interesting essay of one Christian preacher from America. And he makes a lot of good points. You know, he says basically the same thing what we are discussing here. And he makes interesting points. He says that a society where man's role and woman's role is not clearly established, it will not last. Why? Because the family unit will fall apart. And this is exactly what we have today in Kali Yuga. I mean, in the Western world, if we go more west, people hardly even get married anymore. They just have a child with this person, a child with that person. I know ladies who have 4 children from 3 different men, and they have never been married. So this is actually reality. Yes, this is reality. So the family unit becomes more and more unstable. And there is this thing, we were touching upon it yesterday at the very end, concluding that this propaganda of man-woman equality was a conscious plan, just so women are more easily available for sense gratification. Because if men and women are equal, this relieves the men from their responsibilities towards a woman, especially when she's pregnant and has a child. You know, in Krishna's system, the husband, he's responsible to maintain and provide and protect. But if they're equal, then the man, the husband, or not even the husband, the man can just go and say, okay, see you later, it was nice being with you, we are equal, so you can take care of yourselves, you don't even need me, you know. So, and this was a conscious plan, just to make sense gratification easier available. And Prabhupada recognized this immediately. And he was saying, we were reading yesterday, he was saying, yes, this is free prostitution. Usually you have to pay for a prostitute, but here in the Western world it is arranged in such a way that anybody is easily available for enjoyment, and you can just go and not be responsible. So Prabhupada could immediately understand this, and there is such a thing called social engineering. Anybody of you has heard this term, social engineering? Yes, some of you. Yes. This takes really alarming, it takes alarming forms, the social engineering. Maybe not here in Bulgaria so much, but in countries like America or Sweden, Sweden is really very upfront in these things. There is this whole understanding which really evolves from this misunderstanding of man-woman equality. They take that point even further, and they say, you know, they teach the children at school in Sweden that they don't address people with he and she, but it, some neutral thing. And I have seen some film clips, some devotees made a video on this and pasted all kinds of things together, but it is in German at this point. I told them, make it in English, then I can use it, you know. So, and there it was shown in the schools that the children are asked, so what do you want to be today, a boy or a girl? Yes, and they dress them with both, with you know, they dress the boys in skirts and underneath some jeans or something, and there's a whole attempt there to completely diffuse and confuse the whole gender roles, you know, and the children become all confused and depressed. one day they're a boy, one day they're a girl. These things are going on. And then they have some around 50 social genders, they call them, where you can choose your social gender. I mean, the world is getting more and more crazy. And this is all a result of this equality, of this confusion, And there is this idea, social engineering means that there is some demoniac leaders there who consciously propagate these things just to make the family unit more and more unstable, and then people can be more easily manipulated. And this is how Kali Yuga, the crazy, dull-headed, confused Kali Yuga person, is evolving. There is a conscious plan behind it. Yes, that people can just be manipulated. They can be, they're gullible. They can be, they can be convinced of anything, and I mean, this is alarming. This is very alarming. So, Lord Chaitanya Sankirtan movement, we are meant to put something against this. We are meant to show to the world and offer some alternative, some different culture, where the men are true men, they're chivalrous, they're heroic, they play their roles of protecting, providing, taking charge. The women are true Lakshmi Devis, power of inspiration. They are true mothers, caregivers. There's strong families. The children are emotionally healthy and strong. And so we are meant to show this to the world. How civilized, cultured human life is meant to be lived. But if we are also confused on these simple topics, are men and women equal, and our women try to compete with the men and do the man's duties, and I mean, what do we have to show to the world? Absolutely nothing. So that's why I feel this strong urge to get this knowledge out into our ISKCON world. And I mean, the books I'm putting together, they are for our devotees. They're not for outside people, Let's first be clear amongst our devotees what is what, so that we can actually set a good example. Then Lord Chaitanya Sankirtan movement will become very powerful, very attractive. But as long as we face the same problems in our society and families and the same confusions, then what do we have to show to the world? Absolutely nothing. Only a nice philosophy in the books. But we cannot demonstrate how it is meant to be lived. And that's what culture is all about. We have to go to the next step of not just learning the philosophy by heart and repeating it, but we have to live it. And we are not there yet. And it is not surprising, because we are surrounded by propaganda which is completely opposite to what we are trying to live and preach. So it takes some generations, from generation to generation. We hopefully will get closer to Krishna's system. It will not happen from one day to the next, Yes. Okay, this is just a little additional informations and points, and now let us go to session number 2. And we have today a few English copies for those who would like to stay in English language, and we have a few. This is English, this is Bulgarian. Yeah, as far as I see, we did not copy any more copies of the yesterday handouts, right? This is a bit of a shame, because I think yesterday not everybody received the materials, and we have new people. Can somebody maybe do this for tomorrow? Who is doing the copying? Can we quickly see Who did not get the yesterday's materials? Please lift your hand. And who wants them? Yes? Lift your hand. What about you who were not here yesterday? You don't want yesterday's materials? Because
I don't know.
you don't know. Well, there's interesting quotes there, conversations with Prabhupada. You know, if you're more interested in the topic, then I think it would be good to get the materials. Of course, if you don't look at them anyway and throw them in the bin, then no need. So once more time, who wants the yesterday's materials? Please lift your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hang on. One more time, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so can we have by tomorrow, 6 to 8 copies of the first materials in Bulgarian, just to give to those people who didn't get it yesterday? Yeah? Okay, good.
And how many in English, please?
Well, I don't know. Who wants it in English? Yes, there's a few people. This is probably even more than we have. I don't think we have so many English.
Можете с две да си хвалите двете напред. Вие двете с български. Не, постави ми. Английски ще може да бъдете две сега. Не, английски. Това е двете, защото много точно.
Here's our young participants. What, even though you didn't even get Bulgarian either?
They will share with Naradmunio.
Yeah, well, see, the sharing is not ideal. Prabhuji, sharing is not so ideal because people should take notes.
I know, but they are not enough.
Really? So who is in charge of the copying?
I'll make sure tomorrow that there is enough.
Yes, so then we need 6 or 8 of the first lesson and also a few of the second, which were also not given out. Yes. Yeah, because the sharing is really an emergency thing, but there's, especially today also, we will read a lot of powerful quotes from the Bhagavatam. So it keeps the attention better when we can read while I'm reading this, we can follow up, and then we can be more attentive and catch the points better, when we have visual and oral reception. Okay, so yes, and everybody's got their pens to take some little notes. Always takes some time to be organized. Okay, good. And can you sit down properly? Otherwise, I cannot even see my audience behind you. Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay, lesson number 2. And for those who have the materials, it's helpful if you follow up, then you can be more attentive and you know where we are. Okay, so the introductory topic today is the discussion of hierarchy. What does hierarchy mean? So usually when we have more time than what we have, I do a little brainstorming and I collect what people, well, maybe very quickly we can do this. What kind of thoughts and feelings and terms come to your mind when you hear the word hierarchy? Let's do this very quickly. Brainstorming. Order. What else?
Competence.
Competence.
Superiority.
Superiority. What else?
Social order.
Social order. What about stability? Protection. Right?
This is the result.
Hmm?
This is the result.
Yes, this is all comes along with hierarchy, you know. And what about abuse, violence, suppression, exploitation? Right? This is also part of hierarchy. Yes, yes, yes. See, usually I have a big blackboard and we collect the terms and we put the positive ones up on the top in green and the negative ones on the bottom in red. And sometimes funny to see that the person writing is not sure where to put it, you know. Authority. Oh, is that good or bad? You know, people people are a little confused sometimes. And then when we collect all these things, it becomes very clear that there's many very positive things like stability, harmony, protection, cooperation, and all these kind of things. But then there's also very negative terms like abuse, violence, and exploitation, and. You know, it becomes very clear that there's very two extremes to the whole topic of hierarchy. So now let us exploit this a little further. Actually, the word hierarchy comes originally from the Greek language, and it means divine order. That's the meaning of hierarchy, divine order. Actually, Krishna's order, Krishna's system. That's what a hierarchy actually means. So, and of course, who is on the very top of the hierarchy? Who is on the top of the hierarchy? Krishna, yes, of course. And everybody below sees themselves as servant of Krishna, right? And actually Krishna's hierarchy, Krishna's system, in Krishna's system, hierarchy is a system for protection. The higher protects the lower. That's how Krishna established hierarchy, actually. It is a system for protection. Like, for example, the Brahmanas are meant to protect the Kshatriyas, even though they also protect the Brahmanas, but the Brahmanas protect the Kshatriyas by giving them good advice. Then the Kshatriyas are meant to protect the Vaishyas, and the Vaishyas are meant to protect the Sudras. So everybody protects those below him. So higher and lower in that system simply indicates the flow of protection, because protection flows from higher to lower, like water flows from higher to lower. We can only protect somebody who is lower to us, right? Yes. Same thing there. Man is meant to protect woman, right? So in Krishna's system, higher and lower does not mean good and bad and more fun and less fun and more recognition and less recognition, but it simply indicates who protects whom. That's why, by the way, woman's birth is considered to be a lower birth, because she's meant to be protected. Not because she is not valuable or not important or anything. No, not at all. Today we will see, how we women are playing such an important role. A woman is considered to be the jewel. That's why she's carefully protected. So that the fact that woman in the Shastra is considered to be a lower birth is not in a devaluating way, It is not meant to put her down or something, but it simply means she needs to be protected. So now, when Krishna is removed from the top of the hierarchy, what happens then? And we go back to our system we had yesterday. If we want to make a contribution, we raise our finger, please, so that not always the same people are shouting out. So what happens to the hierarchy when Krishna is removed from the top? What happens? Who can understand? Yes. Yes, the exploitation appears. Exactly. Why? Can you explain this more? Why is exploitation appearing? Yes.
Защото всеки се чувства, че той е на върха. Всеки си мисли.
What's he saying?
Because everyone feels like he's on the top.
Yes, because everybody wants to take Krishna's place. And nobody sees themselves as Krishna's servant anymore, but everybody wants to take Krishna's place. So immediately competition and envy enters, and everybody wants to take Krishna's place and be the top of the hierarchy there. So, and then Krishna's divine system for protection turns into a system for exploitation and abuse and suppression. That's why we have these two extremes when it comes to hierarchy, that we have so many good things but then also so many bad things. Namely, when Krishna is removed from the top of the hierarchy, meaning that people become less God conscious. That's what it means, that Krishna is not on the top of the hierarchy anymore. So, and then the higher will, exploit the lower and suppress the lower, right? So in that system, high and low has a very different meaning. In that system, higher means more fun, more recognition, more enjoyment, and nobody wants to be low because you're trampled on, you're exploited and taken advantage of. So in that system, higher and lower has a very different meaning than in Krishna's system for protection. Very different. I once wrote an article about this and I posted it on Dandavat. And I was surprised about all the comments I received, which made it very clear that people don't understand that in Krishna's system, higher and lower has a different meaning. We hear and understand everything through the material ears and eyes, and as soon as we hear higher and lower, we think of, yes, high is wanted, low is not wanted. High is good, low is bad. We cannot even, that's what I saw from the comments, that people cannot let this understanding, let go of this understanding and understand, no, in Krishna's system, higher and lower has a different meaning. Hello. It's not good and bad. It's who protects whom. Yes. Yeah, I could very clearly see this from all the comments I got, that people were not understanding. And there was all these arguments about lower birth of women. Oh no, in Kali Yuga men are just as low, and all these kind of cliche type responses, which made it very clear people don't understand the point. So that's how much we are conditioned. We are that conditioning, that materialistic conditioning and propaganda is so deep and so subtle. Not so easy to shake this off and make this transformational paradigm shift and hear and understand things from a spiritual point of view. Not so easy. Not so easy. And that's what happened in regards to the Varnas. This is how the Varnas turned into the caste system. That actually Krishna was removed from the top of the hierarchy, and then instead of a system for protection, it became a system of exploitation, that the Brahmanas were exploiting the Kshatriyas and they were exploiting the Vaishyas and they were exploiting the Sudras. And then it was all by birth, and so it became the caste system. You know? Yes. And same thing happened in regards to men and women, you know, that men were not protecting the women anymore, but exploiting and using the women, you know. So now, my question to you, what's the solution to the situation that Krishna's system turns into a system for exploitation? What's the solution? What's the solution? Anybody, you want to say something?
Well, I'll say put Krishna back on top.
Very true, to put Krishna back on the top of the hierarchy, because hierarchy is there. It will always be there. It's Krishna's system, divine system. We can't avoid it and get rid of it, you know? But we have to put Krishna back on the top of the hierarchy. The solution is not equality. It's not independence. That's where the whole world goes wrong. You know? Just the fact that, you know, women were exploited by men, so that's why the whole idea comes up, to avoid this, women should be independent, women should be equal. But no, this is not the solution to the issue, you know? Yes. I mean, even within ISKCON, I'm sorry, even there we have this misunderstanding. Just the fact that in the early days of ISKCON, the women were very badly treated because the devotees were immature, they were neophyte, you know, and the philosophy was, by some leaders, was used to, you know, put women down and mistreat them. But the solution is not equality. No, sorry. No. The solution is to become Krishna conscious, to put Krishna back on the top of the hierarchy. That's the solution. You know? And the same thing is happening in India, even in Bangladesh now too. Because of course in all these countries, God consciousness in society is diminishing because all these material influences are coming in. Kali Yuga is progressing. So the women are abused, you know, and there's violence towards women and so many things. So and everybody, or many, think in India, Bangladesh, the solution is women have to be independent, you know, and they're equal. And that makes only the situation of the women worse. Yes. It makes it only worse. It's not the solution, because it's Krishna's divine system. Even communism was an attempt, you know, to make everybody equal, because the higher was exploiting the lower. So then the same solution was offered, let everybody be equal. But, well, you know, we realized, you know, no, not the solution. As soon as you have a human society, there will always be an intellectual, you know, part of society, and a mercantile part of society, and the administrative and Kshatriya type part of society, and the simple working class society. It will always be there because it's according to the three modes of nature. We cannot abolish that. Doesn't matter how much we try, it will always be there. Right? Yeah, so I mean, communism, that solution failed. And the same thing is with this man-woman equality. I mean, actually it's an old hat. You know, this started all 50 years ago. You know, and now meanwhile we have seen that it did not give the women any benefits whatsoever. It put them only in worse situations. You know, that they're exploited even more. So many single mothers, you know, as Prabhupada was explaining in this interview yesterday, you know, that he said, yes, you know, man wants that the wife is submissive, and then he takes charge. And then there's peace and stability in family life, you know. So we read it all yesterday, and we will get back to this today also. You know, so this whole equality of man, woman, actually it's an old hat. You know, 50 years later we can see it has not improved the situation at all for the women. You know, and even in regards to violence towards women, and we'll get back to this tomorrow actually, a little bit. But even in Germany, violence towards women is really increasing. You know, in a progressive country where men, women are almost equal, and the women are all in the workforce and in the politics and this and that, but still violence towards women is so increasing. So obviously, you know, these things are not only happening in the countries like India or something where sometimes the women are abused and so on, but even in so-called civilized countries and progressive countries, just the same. It only maybe looks a little bit more polished or something, you know, but yeah, this is simply because we are not accepting Krishna's divine order, that woman is meant to be protected and that there's naturally hierarchy there, you know. So I think anybody who thinks a little more deeply will understand that this equality and women's liberation and independence is not offering a solution at all. I once read a nice statement where one, actually he is a Hindu preacher, he wrote some article about these topics, and he was saying, we have to liberate the women from the liberators. So I thought this is a good motto to take up for us devotees, that we have to liberate the women from this whole misconception of equality and the so-called women's liberation movement there, you know, and bring them back to their real roles of being true women, you know. Yes, and I mean, you know, we can observe that how this material vision sneaks in even for our devotees, that we have this understanding, you know, everybody wants to be a brahmana, that's good, that's, you know, more recognition, and nobody wants to be seen as Sudra. You know, people get offended if you say, oh, Prabhu, you have Sudra nature or something. What? Huh? What do you mean? Oh, me, Sudra? No, I'm Brahmana. You know? Yeah. So that's how we are conditioned, you know, to think that the higher position is good, the low position is bad. Being Brahmana is good, being Sudra is bad. But no, for Krishna, there's no difference. You know? Yes. Sudras have actually very good qualities, often much better than we have. You know, and we have the famous story of the Brahmana and the cobbler who want to know when they go back to Godhead, right? Narada Muni asks them, and then, you know, the Lord says, oh, Brahmana, many more lifetimes he has to take birth again. But the cobbler, yeah, after this lifetime he will go back. You know, so the whole story very clearly illustrates, in Krishna's eyes, it's not a matter of, you know, being Brahmana or Sudra, but it's a matter of devotion. And often, you know, being in a more humble position of a Sudra, it is more easy to actually develop devotion to the Lord, because very easily when we have some high position we get proud and so on, you know. Yeah, so, but still, we devotees are still caught up in this whole mundane way of seeing things, that we think high is good, low is bad. But in Krishna's system, it's not like that. It simply means who protects whom, that's all. But for Krishna, you know, there's the absolute platform of every living entity being equal, you know. Okay, let me see if I have anything else. Okay, so do we have any quick question just on this point? Nothing else. Only what is connected with this point. You have something?
I've got a comment, Mataji, if you allow.
Yes.
Just in support of what you were saying. In these Scandinavian countries like Sweden, we were talking, where women are very much encouraged to compete with men. The statistics show that although they are encouraged to accept male professions, actually what's happening right now is just the opposite. The differences in choices of typical male and female occupations is actually increasing, and this has been studied and documented by the very same persons who are actually advocating the gender equality. So they were actually amazed to discover the result of their
That women still go back to the female professions and men. Yes, yes. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I read these things also in the German news website there, where they say, oh, you know, we somehow still, after all these years, we have not managed to make the men and women equal. And there is still more, you know, men in the leading positions in the politics and in companies than the women. And how can we change this, you know? They still don't get it, you know, and they're trying so much to make them equal and have just the same amount of women in the leading positions than the men, you know, but oh my God, and I'm always smiling to myself, okay, they still didn't get the point, you know. So, yeah, it is quite funny. Anything else? Yes?
I have something, but it is not a question, or maybe it is a question. There is something in all this system that disturbs me very much. And I apologize to all of you that I will say this.
Okay.
We have spoken that hierarchy, the woman should be meek and humble, serve her husband, listen to
No,
him.
we haven't even gotten there yet.
Yesterday we spoke about this. So
I
she
just
should
read one quote where Prabhupada says,
Yeah.
not I'm saying,
Yeah.
Prabhupada
This
says.
is in the Vedic literature, it is written like that.
Yes.
So in all these many years in Krishna consciousness, I have been spoken with women all over the world and has put them the question about to be like to surrender to their husband. And you know what the answer was? They said everything is okay. But we have no the freedom to say we don't want sex today. And
Anyway, let's not get into.
yeah, for them it was very. They say we will be meek and humble, but the man should learn when we are married that we make sex only for children and not.
This is a
at
whole
the
big
moment.
topic.
Yes.
Whole
But
different
when
topic,
it
different
is-
course, different seminar.
But it's but it is the same. If she's meek and humble, she should listen and accept everything what he does and wants. And
No. Anyway, if you don't mind, because we don't have so much time, and actually when we continue with our topic today, then maybe if you are open, hang on, let me just make this comment. If you have an open heart and an open mind, then maybe you will find some answers. Maybe. But if you already think you know it all and you are very agitated about these things, then you will not be able to understand. Then your ears will be blocked and your intelligence will be blocked, and you will not be able to understand. But if you are a little open, then maybe you will find some answers today. Okay?
Where to be.
Yes. And in regards to sex life, I mean, that is another whole misunderstanding. What it means, no illicit sex life. I mean, this is a whole big topic. It's a whole big topic. And I just don't want to get into this now.
The women want to be independent just because of this. I have spoken with many. They have
I'm
the
also
same opinion.
speaking with many, and I come
Say,
to different.
I want to decide also how many children I want to have, and the husband
Anyway,
asked me.
let's not get into the discussion, please.
Of course it's
You know,
not
we
comfortable
have
discussion.
no. I give a whole seminar on this, but it's a different course. It's family life as an ashram.
Indian women crying,
It's
explaining me
it's
how it
family life as an ashram. It's a different course, and there I have so many quotes from Prabhupada. What it actually means, no illicit sex life. You will be surprised.
Prabhupada has never made a couple of abortions.
You will be surprised. You know, there's a whole misunderstanding what it means, no illicit sex life. Whole big misunderstanding. Just for your information, it is not necessarily that sex life only for children. That's the highest level. But to get there takes time. And according to Prabhupada, it is the duty of the wife to give shelter to her husband's senses. Otherwise, what can he do? He has to go to a prostitute. But please, I don't want to get into this now. But it's a whole big misunderstanding what it means, sex life according to 4 regulative principles. Whole big understanding. It is the wife's duty. Yes, yes. I mean, just to shock you, I tell you one story, which one devotee sent me, since you're bringing it up now. Prabhupada met one devotee in Mayapur, one Mataji, one couple, one Grihastha couple. And it was known to him, he heard that the husband went to see a local prostitute in Bengal. And then Prabhupada asked his wife, why did you do this? No, Prabhupada asked the husband, sorry, why did you do this? You've got a wife, Prabhupada said. And then he said, but my wife didn't want to have sex life and I didn't want to force her. She wanted to follow the 4 regulative principles. So, and then Prabhupada said, gave a whole speech, how sex life within marriage is the reaction is very minute compared to the reaction when going outside of married life. And another time, Prabhupada asked one Mataji who just separated from her husband. She got divorced. And Prabhupada asked her, so why did you get divorced? And then she said, because my husband always wanted to have sex life. And you know what Prabhupada said? Prabhupada said, and you could not satisfy?